Good evening and welcome to USA Weekly News Plus. We're bringing you the top global news stories impacting our world today. From geopolitical tensions to climate change disasters and economic uncertainties, we'll break down the most pressing issues and what they mean for you. This week we've seen a rapidly changing world order with alliances shifting and power dynamics in flux. We'll take you to the front lines of these stories, providing in-depth analysis and expert perspectives to help you make sense of it all. So, if you're looking for a clear, concise, and insightful look at the week's most important news stories, you've come to the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment. Your engagement helps us grow and continue delivering the news that matters most.
The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, recently concluded their 15th annual summit in Johannesburg. This year felt different, with a palpable sense of purpose. The BRICS nations are positioning themselves as a counterweight to Western dominance. The summit's goal was expanding the bloc to challenge the existing world order. Over 20 nations, including Saudi Arabia and Egypt, have expressed interest in joining. This expansion aims to create a powerful economic and political force. A key driver is the desire to reduce reliance on the US dollar. The BRICS nations are exploring alternative currencies for trade and investment.
The recent military coup in Niger has sent shockwaves throughout the Sahel region, a region already grappling with poverty, jihadist insurgencies, and political fragility. The ousting of democratically elected President Mohamed Bazoum by the military junta has drawn widespread condemnation, with ECOWAS, the African Union, and the international community demanding his immediate release and reinstatement. The situation is incredibly volatile. ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, has threatened military intervention if the junta refuses to relinquish power, raising the specter of a wider conflict. Adding to the complexity, the coup leaders have sought support from neighboring Mali and Burkina Faso, both of which are ruled by military juntas themselves. This has raised concerns about a domino effect of coups destabilizing the entire region. The international community, particularly France and the United States, which have a military presence in the region, are engaged in frantic diplomatic efforts to find a peaceful resolution.
Chapter 4. Ukraine's counter-offensive faces uphill battle. Ukraine's much-anticipated counter-offensive against Russian forces has been met with fierce resistance, highlighting the brutal realities of this grinding war. Despite unwavering courage and determination, Ukrainian troops are facing a formidable enemy, dug in behind complex defensive lines fortified with minefields and trenches. Progress has been hard-won and incremental. While Ukrainian forces have managed to liberate some villages and towns, they're facing a constant barrage of artillery fire and drone attacks. The human cost of this conflict continues to escalate, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. The war has already claimed the lives of tens of thousands of soldiers and civilians, leaving countless others with physical and emotional scars. The international community remains deeply divided. While the West continues to provide military and financial aid to Ukraine, Russia enjoys support from countries like China and Iran. The conflict has also had a profound impact on the global economy, disrupting supply chains, driving up energy prices, and fueling inflation worldwide.
Chapter 5. China's economic engine stumbles, raising global concerns. For decades, China's economic engine has driven global growth. But recently, cracks have begun to appear. Key economic indicators are flashing warning signs. Exports have tumbled, and the property market shows signs of a slump. Consumer spending remains sluggish, reflecting uncertainty among households. The government has taken steps to stimulate growth, including interest rate cuts and infrastructure spending. However, these measures have so far failed to deliver the desired results, raising concerns about the long-term health of the world's second-largest economy. This slowdown has significant implications for the global economy.
Chapter 6. Sudan's humanitarian catastrophe deepens. The conflict in Sudan, which erupted in April, has descended into a humanitarian catastrophe. Khartoum, once bustling, is now a desolate battleground, scarred by airstrikes and street battles. Thousands of civilians are trapped, their lives upended by relentless violence. Hospitals are overwhelmed and essential supplies dwindle each day. Millions are displaced, fleeing their homes in search of safety. The international community must act decisively to provide aid and pressure for peace. Japan's decision to release treated radioactive wastewater from the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant into the Pacific Ocean has ignited a firestorm of controversy and heightened regional tensions. The move, which comes more than a decade after the devastating 2011 earthquake and tsunami that triggered a meltdown at the plant, has been met with a mixture of resignation and anger in Japan. While the Japanese government and the International Atomic Energy Agency insist that the treated water poses no significant environmental or health risks, neighboring countries remain deeply skeptical. China, in particular, has vehemently denounced the release, accusing Japan of acting recklessly and disregarding the concerns of the international community. South Korea, while more measured in its response, has also expressed reservations, with public protests erupting in Seoul and other cities. The release has further strained relations between Japan and its neighbors, already fraught with historical grievances and territorial disputes. Chapter 8. In a potential breakthrough, there are indications that Iran may be slowing down its uranium enrichment activities, a move that could signal a willingness to engage in meaningful dialogue with the West. This comes amid ongoing, albeit delicate, negotiations aimed at reviving the 2015 nuclear deal known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which imposed strict limits on Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. The Trump administration's withdrawal from the JCPOA in 2018 plunged the region into uncertainty and brought the US and Iran dangerously close to military confrontation. While Iran's slowdown in enrichment is a positive sign, it remains to be seen whether it will translate into concrete steps towards reviving the nuclear deal. The situation remains highly fluid, with hardliners in both Tehran and Washington skeptical of any rapprochement. The stakes are incredibly high. A collapse of the nuclear talks could trigger a regional arms race, with unpredictable and potentially catastrophic consequences. Chapter 9. After months of political paralysis following the May general election, Thailand finally has a new prime minister, Srettha Thavisin. Thavisin, a political newcomer and former business tycoon, faces the daunting task of uniting a deeply divided nation grappling with a myriad of challenges. His Phoi Thai party, which heads the new coalition government, is no stranger to power, having been previously led by former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, who was ousted in a military coup in 2006. The new government inherits an economy grappling with sluggish growth, rising inequality, and high inflation, all exacerbated by the global economic slowdown. Thavisin has pledged to address these pressing economic issues, but his ability to deliver on those promises will depend on his ability to navigate Thailand's complex political landscape. The military, which has staged numerous coups over the decades, remains a powerful force, as do the influential royalist establishment and a growing pro-democracy movement. Chapter 10. The Korean Peninsula is on edge as South Korea and the United States conduct their annual joint military exercises, Ulchi Freedom Shield. These drills simulate a response to a potential North Korean attack, causing friction between the two Koreas. Pyongyang views these exercises as a provocation and has responded with missile tests, heightening tensions. The situation is volatile, with both sides in a cycle of escalation. The international community urges restraint and dialogue to prevent the situation from spiraling out of control. Stay informed, stay engaged. That's it for our top 10 world news stories this week. We covered a lot of ground tonight, from the shifting geopolitical landscape to the urgency of the climate crisis and the economic uncertainties facing the world. It's more important now than ever to stay informed, to understand the forces shaping our world, and to engage in thoughtful dialogue about the challenges we face. Thank you for watching USA Weekly News Plus. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment to stay updated on the most important news stories from around the globe.